Dabo Swinney said that because of the name, image, and likeness rules and the lack of, I guess, uniformity coast to coast, that there's going to be a complete blow-up and restructuring of all of college athletics, especially football, and there needs to be. Would you agree with that assessment, James Franklin?
Well, the first thing I would say, Rich, is it's no different than any other industry, right? When the rules change or the scenario changes, you better change with it. You better embrace it completely and change and adapt and evolve. So that's what we are doing. In theory, I think this rule makes total sense. And there's a lot of things that I think, we should have been looking at. We should have been making adjustments over the last, 30 years in college athletics and specifically football. What I would say is there's obvious challenges. I don't think the NCAA has done a really good job of educating the public and defending the NCAA themselves about the challenges. The NCAA has been getting beaten up over the last couple of years. And rightfully so in some circumstances, but I don't know if people truly understand the challenges that come with the model, and that's what I would say. There's going to need to be some help. There's going to need to be some, I think you used the word uniformity. I think that's going to have to happen at some point. We don't have it right now, but let's also be honest. There hasn't been uniformity, before. So it is challenging. There's no doubt about it, but we've embraced it at Penn State. We're going to move forward, but there's going to be some changes, significant changes in college athletics. I think over the next 5 years, maybe faster than that. There's a lot of talk about maybe football and basketball breaking away. But I think there's going to be some significant changes in college athletics and specifically football over the last 5 years.
But what would you want?
The next 5 years.
What would you want to see? What would you want to see? James Franklin, you could wave a wand. You're now in charge. What do you want to see? What do you want?
Well, I think at the end of the day, I think the reality is you'd like for everybody to be playing by the same rules, and you'd like for the student athletes to have the ability to take advantage of the opportunities that they have and maybe an opportunity that they may not have after college. So I think there needs to be you need to get a group of people in the room, whether that is from the government perspective, whether that is from the state's perspective, and from an NCAA perspective, and get athletic directors, commissioners in a room and say, okay, what do we need to do that's in the student athletes, and what do we need to do that's in college football's best interest? And I'm talking about it as simple as, we're trying to come up with the best teams for the college football playoffs. And some schools some conferences are playing 8 conference games. Some are playing 9. Some are playing FCS opponents. Others aren't playing FCS opponents. There should be a standardization across college football from a scheduling perspective, from conferences. Do you have a conference championship or not a conference championship? Notre Dame sitting out on their own with independence. There needs to be more consistency across the board. I don't know how you can ask a group of people to sit in a room and come up with the 4 best teams in college football, and everybody's playing under different circumstances. So I think that's one example, but I do think across the board we need to find a way to come up with rules no different than any other league, so that you can do the best job of evaluating and making sure everybody understands the rules and everybody's playing by the same rules.
What number of playoff teams would you like? What number would you be happy with?
To be honest with you, I really haven't had a problem with the current structure because I do think there has been a significant drop-off after maybe the top 5 teams or the top 4 teams. Mm-hmm. So I don't have a strong opinion, but I just think it needs to be consistent across the board. I think everybody should be playing the same number of games. Everybody should be, in terms of, playing FCS opponents. Those are the things, to me, I'm more passionate about. I think you can make an argument of going to 12, but again, you don't want to get into a situation where you make these changes, but it's the same 2 or 3 teams that are winning the championship every single year. So I don't think we need to go to, what basketball has done with 65 teams and things like that. I don't think we need to do that, but I do think every major conference, their champion should be in. I do also believe if there's two teams from one conference, it should be the best teams in college football. And I think everybody, should have that opportunity. Obviously, the group of five have done some fantastic things as well, and they deserve an opportunity. So, I think by expanding a little bit, it allows you to do that. We won the Big Ten championship a few years back and didn't get into the playoffs. That's a hard pill to swallow. But, I don't think we need to go too far with it.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.